In the inbox late night, glowing screens see the light. Do-do-do, email, everything feels alright.
If you're going to run your email program like a top brand, you cannot send out anything that is substandard. Fresh designs. Top brands do not send the exact same look and feel for 8 quarters. Every season, they update their in-email branding so that it still matches the site branding, but it's fresh in some way. Also think about your automations. Those automated emails should be flawless, beautiful, and 2, they should be built to last. Build the program that you would love to be on. It's the world's best email and retention podcast, and I'm your host, Jordan Gordon. We are a member of the DTC network of podcasts and the philosophical home of the Pilot House email and customer retention team. Today we're going to discuss doing email like a top brand. Over the last few weeks and really last couple of years, we've discussed a lot of really specific tactical things to make your email channel better. But so what, right? What's it all for? Where does it all go? What does this all ramp up to? It ramps up to running your email channel like a top brand. So I'm going to take this episode to map that final destination out a bit better, to understand where everything fits. And then I'll end with some more of that technical stuff, although I'd say maybe a little higher level than some audience members would be doing it. If you're like a solo entrepreneur, maybe the stuff at the end is a little more advanced than you'd be doing. Although the stuff at the beginning is exactly what you should be thinking about. So whether you're an entrepreneur or a kind of brand side retention manager, there'll be some stuff in here that is useful and thoughtful for you. Okay, let's just jump right into it. Mindset of excellence. Top brands have top employees. You're not even going to get hired at a top brand if you don't have a mindset of excellence, because no one's going to understand how you think, right? They're going to just subconsciously select you out. I've worked for companies that do, hundreds of millions in revenue every year. And when there's something wrong with some marketing asset, everybody just stops what they're doing automatically and fixes it. They don't even think about it. There's never this, is it good enough? That's not the way they think. So if you think that way, is this good enough? You're not running like a top brand. Now, fixing assets with problems is costly. So there's also a really good workflow at top brands. So if you're familiar with Kaizen, it's like a Japanese kind of process management system. They teach about it in business school. Kaizening your process is a great idea, so that you have to drop everything less often to fix assets. Because guaranteed, if you're going to work as a top brand, if you're going to run your email program like a top brand, you cannot send out anything that is substandard. No assets can go out that are substandard. There is a zero acceptance of bad assets. How about simplicity? Top brands don't pay for complexity. They pay for consistency. Now, it's really easy to have a mindset of excellence and build excellent assets if it's really easy, right? So what are some things that, I just don't see a lot of top brands doing? Weird logic in your email templates. Oh, this is the way it looks in mobile, and this is the way it looks in desktop, and oh, look, when I did this cool thing, I got it so the headline did this in this version. Well, then what happens when you put your coupon code in, and then a week later, for whatever reason, your coupon code has to change, and you update the coupon code in one place, but you forget to update it in the other place, and then based on the device someone's using, mobile or desktop, half the people have a coupon code that doesn't work, and your whole promotion falls flat on its face. Now, I'm not going to say that you should have only kind of single column live text, super simple templates, although you could. Lots of great brands do, right? I mean, I've brought you Filson, Ralph Lauren, and Gucci since I started podcasting at Pilot House and shown you, and that's what they do. But of course, look, there's a reason to have some logic, right? But there should be no needless logic. Well, just since we were on coupon codes, don't build, this is just an example. Don't build a coupon code that easily produces failed baskets. Like, oh, you're doing this, and then if you buy the blue widget, you get this discount. Oh, someone put the red widget in, so it says coupon code failed, and the shopping basket fails. This is what consumers do not do. They don't 100% of the time go in and fix the basket. Some percentage of the time, they just get confused or unhappy, have a bad experience with you, close the window, walk away, and you lost the sale. And the terms and conditions say it's got to be a blue widget, so most people are putting in a blue widget. But what happens if they put in a red widget? So what, right? You want the sale. So have complex terms and conditions. Don't have a complex shopping cart, right? Don't have a complex conversion. If you're a solo entrepreneur and you want things to be simple, don't put text over image. If you're using like an HTML template, just have the headline below the picture. Really easy to update, right? Bottom line, simplicity. Make your process simple. Fresh designs. So absolutely, top brands do not send the exact same look and feel for 8 quarters. No way, right? Every season, they update their in-email branding so that it still matches the site branding, but it's fresh in some way. Might be seasonal colors, might be some elements. It might actually be a complete change in the layout structure while still matching the website branding. And top brands, when they make that change for the brand. So the email gets updated that way, and the socials kind of look and feel gets updated too. So as I step into my new season, I'm going, oh, hey, look, things look different, right? Oh, this is fresh. And what subconsciously are we thinking? Oh, maybe I should freshen up my wardrobe too, or maybe I should freshen up my juices, right? Because it's new year, new me. When we freshen up that look and feel, subconsciously, we're telling the customer, it's a new time. And so it's time to replenish, right? Replenish and renew. So you will see a quarterly kind of theme, and you will see also functional themes, like when someone's in the sale, it might have a different look than pre-sale, so that they know, oh, I'm in kind of the season where maybe they're getting rid of some of their extra stock, right? I'm just visually signaling it. These are the kinds of things that top brands do. They do not just take the exact same look and feel and send it for 8 quarters. Build the program that you would love to be on. Top brands think about this because they're interested in reach. We'll talk about reach a bit at the end when we get to some of the more complex stuff. But you should be building an email program that you would want to be on. Absolutely. Or you're not going to keep people around. So bottom line, don't abuse your audience, but we can be a bit more specific about how to think about not abusing your audience. If you want to build a relationship with someone, you need to add value and respect their time. So here's just some tactical things that happen and how you should think about them. Double taps. We do double taps. Sometimes we take in very small brands. They're very constrained in the number of assets they have. Their budgets are constrained, so we get the most we can get out of every asset. Sometimes we will take a digital asset we produced, change the subject line, maybe swap out a hero shot, which is easy to do if you haven't got text over image, right? And we will just resend the asset. It's a double tap. And you're able to produce more revenue per asset. Okay, but top brands, no way. No way. If a top brand does a double tap, it's going to be a unique asset. So it won't be a double tap. It'll just be another message. So we can think about that. Refresh, repurpose, reserve. So you can refresh the asset. Like I say, okay, we're gonna, let's say we're gonna do a reminder. It's just a sale reminder. Okay, do you need to completely make a new sale email for the sale reminder? No, you can swap out an asset in the image, change the subject line, and maybe, and obviously update the thing to say last chance, but it's basically the same email. Yes, they do that. Of course, they refresh. And we discussed Filson, where we showed their launch, which was the great. Go back and watch this recent The World's Best Email and Retention podcast episode on Spotify. If you want to see this, it's Filson, Masters of Aspiration, or something like that. Whatever it was called. Great episode. So we showed you Filson, and they had the cowboy and the horse going over the river, and it was this great shot. Oh, amazing imagery that you want to have in your inbox. You only get so many of those shots out of a shoot. I mean, everybody, no matter how big you are, you're thinking about the budget on your shoot. So what do? Okay, you launch with your best imagery. But then what did they do? They did that little overlay where it was like a number 8, because there were 8 products that were selling really well that they wanted to push later in the season. And so you could kind of see through the 8. So you could see the horse and the river and the cowboy, and it was grayed out everywhere else. It was the exact same image. They repurposed it. So you've got refresh, which is just make some changes, repurpose, take an asset that you've already used and alter it, right? So that you've added some new design element. Rather than swapping out, you've taken something you've used before, but you've added something new to it. So someone can go, oh, they've made they've taken some artistic direction to this, and they are telling a new story. And I'm not going to hold it against them that they reused this image, because the image is excellent. And so they found a way to tell an interesting new story with that same image, right? Repurpose. And then reserve. You should have a reserve template, a template that you can use to really quickly put together a message and send it out. Hey, we need to plug a revenue hole. Hey, we just discovered that last year we did, this at this time, and we're not going to hit our year over year if we don't do something right now. Okay, you have a reserve template that matches that quarterly theme that we discussed, maybe a functional theme. So you've updated your templates, and when you do that update, you make this reserve template. So you've got something that you can use when you need to without abusing your audience by not adding any value, any visual or aesthetic value with that message. Now, how about sending way too many messages, right? When we get to the end, we're going to talk about a little bit about how to understand what is too many messages. But to just kind of be reasonable, I don't do a lot of programs that do more than 3 messages a week, right? They're not the kind of program I would want to be on. It's a lot of messages. Now, if you have lots of digital assets because you got lots of photo shoots and you've got a big catalog, let's say we will use a tools example here from a great client of ours. They've just got a ton of different tools. Okay, so if you've got a huge catalog, so you have a lot to merchandise, and you have a lot of great lifestyle imagery, kind of lifestyle or on model in the world, and so there's lots that you can share, and you've got your dynamic product setup. So when you receive an email, it's fresh and is useful for me. This is what's trending right now. This is what you recommend to me based on my purchase history. Okay, yeah, you can justify 4 messages. Anthropology often does 4 messages a week because they've got these huge catalogs and everything looks great. But I would say most programs should not be doing 4 emails a week. Let's just put it that way, right? Well, what's a play for 3 emails a week? We got this great brand. I love their 3 email a week strategy. 1 a week is merchandising. Hey, this is what's new. Here's this new thing. Let's tell a story about this great new product. The second one is kind of blog. But generally like rich content, blog or video or a recipe or whatever the thing it is that you want to do. So the second one is this thought leadership, edutainment, real value that helps people become the better person they want to be by being a member of your email program. And then the third one is a deal, and it's a deal on one product. The nice thing about that is if you've got a huge catalog, you don't want people, you probably got like 10, if you've got a huge catalog, probably most of your sales are still 10 products. And you don't want people to just clean you out of those 10 products. So you can do a deal on your long tail products. People are they're gonna want to stick around because it's like every week they're hoping that it's gonna be a product that they want, and eventually it will be, right? So that weekly deal is a way to keep people in without giving the game away and letting people just buy all of your essentials at a discount because it's on a specific product. What a cool 3 email program, right? And for 2 emails, I think the first one merchandising and the second one that kind of value add content. I worked at a brand where I got 1 email a week. I got 1 campaign a week. That's what I got, right? And it was the brand side. So that asset was perfect. Everyone would just walk around it and the CMO would be there and we would just kind of make everything really, 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 really perfect. It was a flawless asset. And there was 1, and that's all I got. So I got really into my automations in order to drive results. And you can put a lot of time into automations. So when you're thinking about building the program you want to be on, also think about your automations. Those automated emails should be 1, flawless, beautiful, and 2, they should be built to last. So lots of dynamic content, lots of recommendations, trending, bestsellers, new to site, all those things. We'll probably discuss that on a specific episode at some point in future, how to do those properly. But you want those emails so that as your catalog changes, the emails change too. So people are getting emails that are relevant to them no matter when they're getting them. If they get the email more than once because it's automated, it's going to be new because it's got new products for them. Always something new. So think about your automated system when you build the program you want to be on. Don't put all this time into these beautiful campaigns and then just send these totally junky automated emails out that are basically garbage, because those are the emails that go after someone shows intent. Those are the ones that get all the attention. Those are the ones that have 10 to 20 times more revenue per email sent than your campaigns because they're sent when someone's paying attention to your brand. Those must be flawless. Now, email is about building relationships, right? Relationship, audience, message, product, ramp, right? Ramp up marketing. So you got your audience, your message, your product. You got an audience, you got a product, you send them a message, you sell something. Super textbook stuff. What's the first part of ramp? Relationships. So the sum of all the assets that you sent a subscriber in a year, that is the relationship you built with them in a DTC program. Because it's one to many, right? Look at all those assets. That's the relationship that you built between that user and your channel. So look at them and say, is someone going to want to be on this program? Right? We, I don't know if anybody's read Influence by Cialdini or Cialdini. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. Classic book, and about how people influence others. And to roll it all up, we build reciprocal networks. When someone else actually improves your life, you will just naturally do things that improve their life. It's part of human survival when we were living in caves, right? So if you build a program that actually improves people's lives, they will thank you by purchasing, and they will pay more than what they would otherwise pay at Amazon. This is what a brand is. A brand is why someone would buy from your site rather than just going to Amazon and getting some bargain basement product that has the same functionality, right? So if you want to keep them with you and not with Amazon, build a program that helps them be the better person they want to be. Okay, we're going to close this off with some stuff that's a little bit more funky, maybe. So big brands are obviously multi-channel, omni-channel, and they're not thinking, oh, this is my ads channel, this is what this does. This is my email channel, this is what this does. They're thinking here's my channels. What can I accomplish? Right? They don't push out little individual things from these channels. They push their message out through all their channels, and they use their message to alter the purchasing behavior of large segments of the economy. So big brands do. So how these channels interact is important to them. I had said this in a recent talk, and I want you to think about it. If you want to drive more first-time buyers, you must learn to drive more repeat buyers. You've got your gross margin, you've got your cost to acquire a customer through ads. That's how much room you have to play with, or you're working at a loss, right? So you can run your ads channel so it profits by itself, and the funnel can get so tall, or you can subsidize those ads with revenue from your owned channels like email, which are super high profit, and then you can build your funnel higher up. You can either, one, focus on people who are already showing intent. Someone searches a long tail keyword. Oh, okay, they've already got intent. Great. Or you can go do what top brands do, really reach out there, speak to people who aren't even aware, who aren't product aware, who aren't even problem aware. Speak to them, and the only way you're going to do that is by subsidizing it with your owned channels. So you need to ensure there is a path to convert for free. You need to ensure there's a way for someone to do business with you for free. And obviously email is a huge part of that. Have an email list. Speak to them in email. Improve their lives. Build that reciprocal relationship. Make them want to come to your site and buy your product for more than they pay on Amazon because they know it's better, because you explained how it's better with your amazing email program. So build that and have that there and have that function, and then juice that with advertising. That's why if you want to drive more first-time buyers, first you need to learn how to drive more repeat buyers. Okay, big brands do study channel migration. This might be if you're like a solo entrepreneur, you're probably not going to do this, but maybe you'll find it interesting anyway. But you want to, as much information as you can, email address keyed information as you can from your channels. Your affiliate channel, download purchases by email address. Facebook, Google, you can probably get some. I spoke to a media buyer before this to just ask, because I'm not sure what's capable right now. These channels are always changing. That's why we have professionals to work with. And he said, yeah, you could probably download like half or 3/4 of your buyers by email from Meta. You're not going to get, just to get the address. It's not going to be perfect. So what? Great. That's plenty of data. So bring all this together, and you've got your email buyers, which that's your owned buyer, that you're paying hardly anything to reconvert. And you want to know two things. One, which of these channels, these channels or campaigns within those channels, if you can get that sophisticated, have a higher first-time buyer rate, meaning the person is placing their first-time purchase ever with your brand through that channel. Because you want these channels, you're paying a lot for these channels, you want them to bring you new business. If the TikTok buyer is always coming to you through TikTok, it's just a waste of money. The channel's a waste. You probably get rid of it. The second thing is, which of these channels have a high migration rate from first-time buyer through that channel to repeat buyer through email? If a channel or program within that channel has people who repeat through email, you want to bump that channel. You go to the director of marketing and you say, I want more of this, right? Because you're getting, obviously you're getting more customers. It's good for you, but for the brand, they're getting more low-cost customers. So again, this is maybe a little bit more than you guys are all going to do at home, but you want to, if you're going to think like a top brand, study channel migration by bringing all the data together in a database or a spreadsheet with some VLOOKUPs. Get scrappy. Maybe you only do it once a quarter because it's a bit of an analysis. Or maybe you find a way, if you're on the brand side, to do it in a more automated fashion. You can do the reverse, and you can push Klaviyo segments, of course, to your ads channels. And so, if you've been listening for the last couple of years, I've said it, so I'm sorry to repeat myself. Take your engagement segment, clone it, non-buyers and buyers, clone those addresses that are less than 120 days old, more than 120 days old, or something like that. You've then got your recent, your stale, your first time, your prospect and your buyers. You got your recent, your stale, your prospect, and your buyers. you can push those to your ads channels and use that. I mean, your ads manager can then optimize, can target, right? We didn't list engagement because this was an engagement segment, but obviously there's a whole process you would do to then have unengaged segments where they can reach people that you're no longer able to reach with email. And the last thing on the list, and this is probably the funkiest, and it's fun to close off on, is look, reach. Big brands care about reach, right? So to build reach, you need a lot of messages because you need a lot of first-party targeting data. You need to it's like you're fattening up a caterpillar. You're getting so many clicks and opens in there. You got this huge engagement segments, right? If you're going to send that many messages and not have it a spam and opt-out extravaganza, you have to send high-value content. We discussed earlier the kind of 3 email a week kind of strategy, right? So, but think about reach. We discussed before. This is the finding from the research. Repeat buyers, there's about 10 times more repeat buyers every month that are receiving emails than are not, right? So when someone unsubscribes or falls off the edge of the engagement segment, they're not saying, I don't want messages from this channel. They're saying get out of my life, right? So the inverse of this, of course, is you grow your list, you grow your revenue. When you got more people to message, when you got more people you can message, you will drive more revenue. So reach is important. The huge list, fatten it up, and then when Black Friday or Labor Day or whatever comes, you got this huge list you can get your message out to. So what are some specific things to discuss about reach? Okay, this is a little bit funky, but you can do this at home. Take your email sent and multiply it by your deliverability score in Klaviyo, and assume your deliverability score is your inboxing. It's not exactly correct. The deliverability score is lower than the inboxing rate we see when we use inbox measuring tools. So if you wanted to, you can maybe add 10 to it. So if your deliverability score was 65, you could say 75. It'd probably be good enough. So your email sent times your inboxing, we could just say deliverability score plus 10. That's one way of thinking about your reach. So when you're sending more, is your deliverability score going down where you're actually reaching less people? You can, any solo entrepreneur can run that at home and understand, am I reaching more people? And what it really is going to do is it's going to get you thinking about deliverability. Because when we discussed where the revenue comes from with email, several episodes back, the number one place revenue comes from is being in the inbox. There's no point in optimizing anything else if you're not in the inbox. List size. So one of those was messages sent. How many people am I sending messages to? In the old days, we just did opens, but opens are so dirty. I thought, could I find a way to hack together? I used to just report how many opens, because that's how many people saw the merchandise, which was important to us. It's important to big brands. You can't really report on opens anymore because they're so dirty from the Apple privacy stuff. But what you can do is list size. So how big is my engagement segment? Record that number every month. That number must be going up. If that number's not going up, you're doing something wrong. Interestingly, you're either sending too many messages or not enough. You could be sending not enough messages because you need to send messages to get the clicks and the opens, the first-party targeting data to fatten up your segments. So it can be hard to get those segments fat on one campaign a week alone in some cases, if you don't have a lot of support from automated emails, for instance. Or if you send too many messages, you're sending 4, you're driving so many opt-outs. Let's say you're sending 4 messages a week. Well, that's 4 times, you take the opt-out rate and you multiply by 4 times, that's how many more opt-outs you're going to be generating than you for sending 1 email a week, plus the fact that the opt-out rate is going to be higher when you're sending 4 emails than 1. So you could just be cannibalizing your list. Those are the 2 things that could be happening when that list isn't growing. Not enough messages, too many messages. Of course, the quality of the messages could be wrong too. Anyway, get that list size growing. And here's the final thing I'll close off on. And this is, it's interesting to think about. How would we define the right number of messages? Well, that would be when you have the optimum revenue per message minus the lost future revenue from your unsubscribes. This is net email value. And it's something like the revenue minus the unsubscribes from the message times the revenue per email sent, because that's how much you would have made from those unsubscribes, times the list half-life, which is how long the average person's on your list. The lists degrade like atomic particles. Now, if you don't want to calculate your list half-life, I mean, maybe I'll do it on the show one day. I have the list half-life for all my lists because that's how you can plug this number. But you can also just say 52 and just assume, you know what, the average person's going to be on our list for a year. Not too crazy an assumption, right? So revenue minus the unsubscribes times the revenue per email sent times 52. That's how much future revenue you lost from unsubscribes from that message. And you should be able to, if you tool around in a spreadsheet with that, test some different send frequencies, different unsubscribe rates at different send frequencies, and level out at what is the optimum number of messages to send to drive revenue now and build reach long-term, right? So, wow, what a dynamite episode. Look what we just went over, from super qualitative, like how to think like a top brand, all the way to how to study your channels and measure things like a top brand. So what I hope you all will take away from this is just some perspective. And as we go into more weeks of this of the world's best email and retention podcast and discuss more specific ideas about how to manage your program, you think about how those things ramp towards this, which is running your email program like a top brand. Look, until then, have fun spamming.
In the inbox late night, glowing screen, see the light. Email, everything feels alright.
Hey entrepreneurs and spammers, remember, you can't scale without email, and the cheapest customer to acquire is the customer you already have. So please subscribe to the world's best email and retention podcast and learn how to make low-cost revenue a big part of your digital ecosystem.